I'd like to thank the Jinnah Institute for inviting me to this forum. I'm just coming from our joint parliamentary session on Kashmir. And I think it's significant that our parliamentary session on Kashmir, where we're talking about not only our own national security, but we're complaining about human rights violations in Kashmir. I would be able to defend, I'd be able to oppose the human rights violations in Kashmir with far greater moral authority had, or our parliamentary joint session would be able to defend the rights of Kashmiri citizens and the abuses of human rights, and oppose the human rights abuses in Kashmir, had we the moral authority, had we defended the human rights of Pakistanis living in Pakistan. And that is why I think it's so important that on the very day that I was in the joint session, I'm also standing before you today, because we need to move. Pakistan needs to move away from a national security state towards a rights-based society. That's where the world is moving, and Pakistan needs to decide if it wants to move in that direction or if it wants to continue to look inward. We often hear the argument of security. The prominence of national security is not only an issue in Pakistan. In established democracies, we've watched how we've compromised on human rights. The champions of democracies have compromised on their human rights in the name of national security. So the fact that we have done so here in Pakistan, or so keen to do so here in Pakistan, is not unique, particularly given our cycle, our regular cycle of every 10 years that we go through between a slightly more democratic environment towards a more authoritarian environment, and that is the transition under new names and in new guise and in a Naya way that we're seeing today. It's a transition. It's a transition away from democratic ideals, from a more rights-based thinking, towards a more from an authoritarian towards a totalitarian fascist state, and that is certainly something that the Pakistan People's Party has always opposed and will continue to oppose to this day. The point that we have to make the average Pakistani understand, the point that we all have to understand, is that there is no national security there is no national security without the preservation of your rights. There is no security without the security of your fundamental rights. If you are not guaranteed the right to life, if you are not guaranteed a rule of law and the right to due process, then what is the point of security? We can only secure ourselves once we can secure our rights. And obviously, we want to secure individual Pakistanis' rights from non-state actors. But by no means can we allow that to mean that we will allow the state to infringe upon our rights. And unfortunately, we've been allowing that to happen. We've been, when I say we, I mean not only my political opponents across the aisle, all of us, Democrats, human rights defenders, we all transitioned away from these rights. We all stopped defending them as vociferously as we once used to, be it under Zia or under Musharraf, again, under fear of terrorism, under the desire to unite this country, to combat that. But now, we need to focus on moving away from a national security state to a rights-based state. And if you look at the past 10, 11, 12 years, we've transitioned. If we talk about governments, and obviously that's my job, I have to talk about a comparison between different political parties' government. We've moved from, under the Pakistan People's Party government, from a government that was empathetic about human rights. No one in this room can deny, despite how critical they may be, that the Pakistan People's Party was at the very least empathetic towards human rights. Then we went through 5 years of a government that was apathetic about human rights. And now we have a government that is outright antipathy towards human rights or rights of any kind. So it falls upon us to now fight this battle. And it is not just a legal battle in the courts or a political battle on the floor of Parliament. It's a battle of hearts and minds. Because unfortunately, somehow, Democrats, human rights defenders, are losing a battle of hearts and minds amongst a segment of society who, in the name of national security, national interest, patriotism, religion, are more than willing to not only compromise on their rights, but on everyone's rights. And that's because we need to change the way we're thinking, the way we're educated. We need to make every Pakistani citizen, every child understand that the state belongs to the people. The people don't belong to the state. We have to make every Pakistani child understand that state institutions belong to the people. People don't belong to state institutions. We have to make every Pakistani child understand that even our economy, the economy belongs to the people. The people aren't a commodity to be traded. Their rights to be compromised, their economic rights to be compromised. They need to have a stake in this economy. And we won't have economic development or progress until we decide how are we going to give the people of Pakistan a stake in this economy. We need to make every Pakistani child understand that the solution to our problems is not less democracy, it's not less rights, it's not less freedom. The solution to all our problems, whichever problem that Pakistan is facing today, is more democracy, more democracy, and more democracy. And at this point in time, that's a challenge. At this point in time, that is a challenge. As you say, the enemy or the multiple enemies of democracy and human rights in Pakistan, they're not right in front of you as they are during a dictatorship. They're drunk on power. They're drunk on power, and they believe just because they can do something, they have gotten away with doing something. That's the way it should be, and that's the way it's always going to be. But that's not the case. And they really need to understand, every democratic force in this country really needs to understand, that just as the people of Kashmir will not give up on their right to freedom, will not compromise on their rights come what may, the people of Pakistan, the democratic, peace-loving people of Pakistan, who were promised a pluralistic, democratic society by Muhammad Ali Jinnah, are not going to give up on that dream come what may. But the challenge before us now, and I seek your guidance and I look forward to a discussion on this, is how. If this is under Naya Pakistan, hum Naya Amriyat ka mukabla kar rahe hain. If this is dictatorship 2.0, then what is the resistance 2.0 going to look like? How are we going to fight back now? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.